Hello, good day. I'm going to review the lessons which I gave as your asynchronous activity. But before that, let's have the prayer. Lord, let your love flow out for us. Give us your guidance to follow the rules, to grow in learning, to serve our country and Caloocan City, and to glorify you in all our work. Amen. Next part is the roll call. Your answer to the asynchronous activity is equivalent to your attendance. So those who send the asynchronous activity during the schedule, uh, official schedule, uh, is considered as present. But I also gave chance for those who did not submit their activities to submit it late. But try to avoid submitting your work late because as future push professional, you should be responsible. Okay, welcome to the continuation of our lesson in Philippine Indigenous Community for the final term. This is our first lesson for the final term. And take note that midterm grade is only 1/3 of your final grade in Philippine Indigenous Community. So, the first activity is the start of the final term, which is 2/3 of your final grade. The computation of grade will start again from 0. And the final term is considered as 2/3, and then the midterm grade is considered as 1/3. So it will be divided into 3 to get the final grade. Okay? Okay, our topics for the first final term activities is INPRA or Indigenous People Republic Act and the 5 pillars of IP rights such as right to ancestral domain, right to self-governance and empowerment, social justice and human rights to cultural integrity, rights to enter into agreement and peace pacts, and the creation of NCIP and quasi-judicial power. Objective. At the end of the lessons, the student should be able to explain the Indigenous People Right Act or the RA 8371, creation of NCIP and quasi-judicial power. And then another objective is examine the salient features of or pillars of IP rights and appreciate and participate actively in class discussion. Okay, I have here the activity, engage activities, which is a motivational activity. Since our first meeting for the final term is asynchronous, so I required you to answer this. This is 10 points. So, activity 1, trivia. Direction. Examine the phrases below. Choose appropriate answer from the box. So, spell out INPRA. So, the answer is Indigenous People Republic Act. Second, what is the meaning of NCIP? The meaning is National Commission on Indigenous People. And then the corresponding term to animal life. The answer is fauna. And then number 4, what word means flower in Latin? And was the Roman goddess of spring and flowering plant, especially wildflower and plants not raised for food? The answer is flora. Example of fauna: reptile, birds, and fishes. Example of flora: plants, grass, and Pores refers to the understanding, skills, and philosophies developed by societies with long histories of interaction with their natural surrounding. The answer is indigenous knowledge. So meaning, the IP people has knowledge about their culture, about their practices. So that is cognitive on how they understand their culture or what is happening in their community. Okay, next. Refers to a group of peoples or homogeneous society. So that is indigenous culture communities. That is a group of or association or organization wherein the IP belong. And next, can ancestral domain belongs to all generation be solved? The answer is false. You cannot solve the ancestral domains belong to different generation or all generations. Okay? Because that is owned by IPs from different generation. Okay. And the last question, what is the important contribution of former President Fidel B. Ramos in INPRA? He is the one who signed the RA number 8371 or approved the Republic Act number 8371. So that is our trivia as motivation. So that you will have background and knowledge about our lesson. And next is activity 2. It's explore, think and share. So direction, using the information you got from the previous activity or the first activity, try to provide answer to the questions below. I also required you to or ask you to answer the question. What is the trivia all about? The trivia is about our topic for today or information related to our topic or lesson for today, which is very relevant for you to understand our lesson. The second is what is INPRA? Number 8371. That is the laws approved or signed by President Fidel B. Ramos, former President Fidel B. Ramos, signed and approved during his time, the INPRA, so that the IP will have their rights, will have their law on how to protect their rights. Okay, next. Next is, why do you think creation of NCIP is a vital to indigenous people? That is very important because that is an organization wherein they are belong. That is the organization wherein they can go whenever they have problems. They will be the one to help them and support them in all the needs, problems that they will encounter. Okay? So next, I ask you to read this for recitation on December 7. Reading between the lines. Direction, share your views and perspectives on the new relevant to the topic of maximum of 5 sentences. Who will fight for the rights of indigenous people? Watch this video about 8371. So you, after watching this, you will give your views on the RA 83721. So you will give your answer, the summary of your answer, but you will also write your answer for about 5 sentences. Who will fight for the rights of indigenous people after watching that video, okay, or link, so that you can answer at the same time you can give your answer about the RA 8371 on how you understand in your own words. Okay? Another one, these are the picture related to the 5 pillars of IP rights. Okay, example, in the first pillars, right to ancestral domain. Based on the picture, these are example of ancestral domains, like the house, the land, the church, and the field, the farm, the mountains. These are ancestral domain that IP has in their community. This is very important to the IPs because these are their property. These are their, in Tagalog, these are their kayamanan. Okay? The only things that they have is their ancestral domain. Ang kanilang mga ari-arian na they can share from generation to generation or from any of their families, member of the family or relatives. Okay, like these are the about the rights to ancestral domain. Ancestral lands, like you've seen in the picture, the lands that is their one of their ancestral that they have, that they can consider as their kayamanan. Okay? Next is the territories, meaning that is their place within their community wherein they live. Okay? The physical environment, that is the surrounding within their area or place wherein they stay. The spiritual and the cultural bound, that is the church. Okay? The spiritual practices and the cultural practices that they have. Then occupy and use. They have the right to occupy and live in that area or in that place, in that ancestral lands wherein they own, and claim of ownership. They have the right to claim that because that is their own ancestral. They have the rights. So this these 6 mention about the right to ancestral domains are their right that they need to take care and protect and fight. Okay, so that is about rights to ancestral domain. Next is rights to self-governance and empowerment. When we say self-governance and empowerment, these are related about economics, status, how they are being treated, or how they participate and get involved in economics. Then another is integrity, service of excellence. They should be given integrity to be part of all the what is happening in our country, because they are also, whatever rights or privileges that we are receiving, that is also their rights they have also, because we are all Filipinos. Okay, so example, the families or in the community, they have the right to be involved in the community, okay, to socialize. And then these are the terms about right to self-governance and empowerment. State recognition, they should be recognized the way we are being recognized. Okay, as I said earlier, we are the same. We are all Filipinos. They are just called as indigenous people, but we are all Filipinos. Okay? Next is self-governance. They should be given the recognition as a member of the government or member of the Philippines group. Then self-determination. Okay, they should be given the self-determination to allow them to participate in every activity so that they will enhance their self-determination. They can also participate in whatever activities we have. Although they have their own area, because they live in their community, but still they should be given their own activity and they should be given their own budget. Okay, next, respect to the integrity of their values, practices, and institution. We should respect them. We should give them their integrity or equal rights and values. We should respect them when we go to their place, when we meet them. We should give them equal importance the way that we are receiving. And then we should also allow them to have their own practices. Own practices, but the same as what we are doing. And the institution, they should have whatever we have, institution, hospital, school, and other institution that we are experiencing. We are also doing, so they should also have that. And economic, social, and cultural development, they should have also equal. When they finish their study, they should also can be given right to apply for work, also to be given equal rights. They can also apply for a job. They can also have their social or they can also interact, communicate, socialize with within the Philippines or even outside their community, outside their areas. They can also studies and go to example Metro Manila, or not only in their place, although they are given school. Then the cultural development, they should be given the activities for cultural development. Okay, but they can also have their cultural own cultural competition about dance and also about sports and all other activities that we are having in our place. Okay, next. Next, this is for human rights. Human rights or for social justice and human rights. These are for social justice and human rights. So, we should give them same as we are experiencing. We should give them rights, human rights. We should give them law like the Republic Act for IP people, so that whenever they need justice, or whenever they encountered problem and they need the law, they can also go get their own what do you call that? They can also get their own judicial or justice. They have problem. Okay, they can have the democracy, same as all of us. They should have also have their government in their place. If they have the government, although they are also under the government wherein they stay, but they have the infra and they have also the NCIP, so that they will be the one who will represent the IP whenever they encounter problem. The NCIP or the indigenous culture communities. They will be the one who will fight for them wherein they can go whenever they have problems. Okay, these are the words under the social justice and human rights. They must have the justice system, like what's shown in this picture about law, so that they need justice. Whenever they need justice, we should give them justice. We should they can also fight for their rights. Whenever they have encounter problems, they are represented. They can use the infra who will represent them, so that they will have basis. And also, just like the NCIP, they can go there so that they will help them. Okay, peace building process. Okay, so whenever they encounter problems or conflict in their place, so they should have also the process of doing the peace building process, so that they will have the social justice and human rights. And then the customary laws, they should, like the IMPRA, that is a customary laws. When we say customary laws, that is their own, given to them as their own laws and practices about IPs. And another, second to the last, practices with their respective communities. So they should have their own practices in their communities so that they will not be out of place. But for those who will develop their personality, develop their leadership, who will excel, can also have the right to be acknowledged, because there are IPs who become popular, okay, who also won in the different activities within the Philippines, not only in their area or in their community. And the last one about social justice and human rights is the national, and international legal system of human rights. So they have also, not only in their place, but the national and international legal system of human rights. So whenever they have problem internationally within the Philippines and within the world, so they will be represented by national and international legal system. So when they go to other country, when they experience problems, so they can go to the national and international legal system of human rights. Okay? Next, rights to cultural integrity. Like what is in the picture. Culture is something that unites people. So if you have cultural practices, the people within the community of indigenous people will be united. Okay? Because that is one way of developing leadership, one way of developing personality. Okay? Paul. So if you have cultural practices, the people within the community of indigenous people will be united. Okay? Because that is one way of developing leadership, one way of developing personality. Okay? Another look at the picture. These are the plants that can or the intellectual property. The intellectual property develop their knowledge. Ito, develop your knowledge or develop their knowledge by participating in different cultural practices or cultural activities, by joining the National Institute of Health, so that they will develop their mental. Okay? So, example of the rights to cultural integrity, recognition of the full ownership. That is the intellectual property. That is, or ownership of their land, ownership of their ancestral home, or their property. Okay, next, control and protection of their cultural and intellectual right. So they should have the protection of their cultural and the intellectual rights. That is the intellectual property. They should also be given that. Okay, next is develop and protect their sciences and technology and cultural manifestation. So they should also join in different activities in science and technologies and cultural competition. That is their rights in the cultural or to have their integrity, cultural integrity. Human and health practices. So there, for them to be healthy, they should also given a right to go to check their to have checkup for their health, to have their hospital, to have their the clinic within their area, so that they can be checked up about their health status, about the different medicinal plant uh, that can be of big help for them to become healthy. Then the animals and minerals, the different animals in their areas and the minerals, that is their cultural rights, part of their cultural integrity, because in their place there are lots of animals, there are lots of minerals. Indigenous knowledge, system, and practices. So they have also, aside from intellectual capacity, that is also in the indigenous knowledge is related to intellectual property. They have the knowledge of about their culture, about their practices, what is happening in their place, and knowledge of properties of fauna. They should know the different fauna and flora. Fauna refers to animals, while flora refers to plants and flowers, as well as fruits. Then visual performing art, they should have competition, cultural competition, or as well as visual performing arts. Okay, that is about rights to cultural integrity. Next is right to enter into agreement and peace pact, customary laws and practices. Always remember, you are braver than you're a believer, stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think. So this is about how to enter the agreement about peace pact, or peace and order. This quotation means, always remember, you are braver. As IPs, they should be brave, and then you believe stronger. You always be confident that you are brave than believing that you are stronger, because it's better to know that you are braver than you believe that you are stronger, than seem smarter than you think. So you think that you are intelligent, you are brighter, you have wisdom. So you should know how to give decision making when you enter to peace and order. So that's to enter into. So they should have the customary laws. Customary laws means they should have their own law. The example, the INPRA, and they have also the National Commission, NC. They have the National Commission on Indigenous People. That is their group. Okay? So that is customary laws, wherein exclusive for IP or indigenous people. And the practices which is happening in there, in their community, in their area. Because they live in a forest, they live in a mountainous area, live in upland and lowland. And then next, so I also gave elaborate activity wherein you send your answer. Last Monday is the deadline, but as always, I always extend depending on the reason for consideration, because always problem is internet connection. Some were sick or not feeling well. Okay, elaborate or activity 5. So direction, write your opinion on the importance of creation of NCIP. So how important, based on your opinions, is the creation of NCIP? This is very important because this is a group or an organization wherein the IPs can go whenever they need them, and they can represent them in even in justice, in fighting for their problems and conflicts, or whatever they need to fight for. Describe in your own word what is quasi-judicial power. This is power to give the this is power given to the commission, so that the IP can be given the law, so that they will be represented by the administrators, by the leaders who can fight for them, so that whenever they have problem, they have the right to investigate and draw conclusions about the problems. They have the right to know the solutions and to check the problems, what caused the problem. And name at least 2. There are how many? 2, 4, 6, 8. There are 8. I gave 8 example of judicial I give a judicial body wherein you will elaborate based on your understanding, or it can be based on your research. The Bureau of Correction, this is a place wherein those who are given after the investigation, after knowing that they commit mistake, they are declared as criminals, they will go to Bureau of Correction. While Bureau of Immigration is the place for those who want to go in other place. They want to go to other country. The National Bureau of Investigation, those whether public or private, and even the IPs, need to go to NBI if they apply for work, so that before they can be hired, they can be checked. They have good character, good personality. They don't commit any criminal act, because they will become permanent employee. They will be they will have a stable job. They will have tenure, especially in the government, because this is applicable for both public and private. Parole and probation administration. This is the place, or this is the organization wherein those who stay good with good records in the Bureau of Corrections can be given a chance to go out and live in the normal life. Although they have already records, but still they need to prove that they change their attitude. They have good records, even though they put in jail. Next, Presidential Commission on Good Government. This is the place wherein, example, if the mayor had a good record, example like Mayor Oscar G. Malipitan, whenever he give he example in COVID-19 or in pandemic, he tried to minimize the number of residents of Caloocan who has the COVID. But actually, once you undergo the test, you will be automatically recorded as patient, or consider as has the COVID-19, because you undergo check-up. Okay? Then Public Attorney's Office. This is a free. When you go to Public Attorney's Office, this is a government office. Free to all the people who don't have money. Even they have money, but can't afford to pay for their attorney to fight for their rights, who will give them justice, who will fight for their problems. So you go to public, or PAO, Public Attorney's Office. And then Office for Alternative Disputes Resolution. Alternative Office for Alternative this Office for Alternative this is about this alternative dispute resolution. This is the fastest growing methods of dispute resolution in the United States, or arbitration. If we want a federal courts, or this is a mediation, wherein if you need an attorney who will help you mediate if you cannot if no one can fight, or if you're not if you're the lawyer that you get cannot fight for your case, you can get a mediator, or you can get a mediator, or you can go to office of the alternative dispute resolution, so that you can still have chance if your lawyer cannot fight for you. Another is office of the government corporate counsel. When we say government, when we say of a government corporate counsel, this means refers to any agency organized as a stock or non-stock operation vested in the function relating to public needs, whether governmental or proprietary in nature, and owned by government of the Republic of the Philippines directly or through instrumentation. These are the stock commissions, wherein all the stocks are deposited. Okay, next is Office of the Solicitor General. Who is Solicitor General? The major function of the Office of the Solicitor General are two. One is conduct or assign and supervise all Supreme Court cases. So he is the highest in authority, including appeals, petition, and opposition of certiorari, briefs, and argument. What is his power? The major function of the office of the, or what is his function? He has the power and function. The office of the Solicitor General represent the government of the Philippines. Since he is in the higher authority, he has the right to represent the government Philippines. Its agency is and instrumentalities and officials and agent in the litigation, proceeding, investigation, and matter requiring services of lawyer. Example, there who wants to go to higher the Supreme Court. So since he is in the highest authority, he will be the one to, you can go to the Office of the Solicitor General. And the last one is the Land Registration Authority. This is the place where you can go whenever you have problem about your land or your lots. Okay? Your ancestral domain land. Then I also gave the exam about the true or false. So wherein I asked you to answer. I asked you to answer. Okay, the first question is, direction first. Read each item carefully. Write T if the statement is true and F if it is false. Ancestral land is not allowed to be sold. Is it true or false? The answer is true. It's not allowed to be sold. A quasi-judicial power has been described as the power or duty not allowed to investigate and draw conclusion from such investigation. That is false. That is a false. Because it is allowed, has been described as power or duty of a duty allowed to investigate. Okay? So remove the word allowed. And then next, the NCIP is the secondary government agency that formulates and implement policies, plans, and program of indigenous people. So the answer is false, because that is not a secondary. That is the primary government agency of the IP or indigenous people. Okay, number 4. The indigenous community cultures or indigenous peoples are entitled to the recognition of the full ownership and control and protection of their cultural and intellectual rights. That is very true. Okay, and next answer is, next question. Social justice and human right is one of the 5 pillars of IP rights. That's very true. Then the state recognized the inherent right of ICCs or IPs to self-governance and self-determination and respect the integrity of their values, practices, and institution. That's true. And the indigenous knowledge refers to the understanding, skills, and philosophies developed by societies with long histories of interaction with their natural surrounding. That's true. Okay, flora is the responding term for animal life. That is false because fauna is the correct term. And then the next one is, Fauna means flower in Latin and was the Roman goddess of spring and flowering plants, especially wildflowers and plant not raised for food. So this is false because the correct answer is flora. Then 8371 is an act to recognize, protect, and promote the rights of indigenous cultural communities or ICCs or indigenous people. The answer is true. Okay? So that is the last activity I gave in the first synchronous activity for the final. Okay. So since I'm done, let's have the closing prayer. Thank you, Lord, for having touched our life with your wisdom. Give us also the privilege to share this wisdom with our fellow men and those in Caloocan City and to remain grateful to you. Amen. power. So learning judicial power.